say that life is so much better when you have a code to operate by. Because most people, in my opinion, have been tricked to think that they want freedom. What they may not understand is that absolute freedom, so no limitations, no restrictions, is synonymous with absolute chaos. The only reason you think you want freedom is because you're living by a set of rules you didn't create. So when you feel like you need to escape your life, you take time off from work and go on vacation. But after a week or so, the simulated honeymoon phase ends and the tourist novelty wears off, and you find yourself to escape your life, you take time off from work and go on vacation. But after a week or so, the simulated honeymoon phase ends and the tourist novelty wears off, and you find yourself unfulfilled, wanting to go back to structure. Now, in the long term, and for the majority of people who hate their jobs, and I know hate their jobs is like the latest buzzword, but in all of my videos, I'm speaking from experience. I used to hate my job. It's okay if you hate your job. But the thing there is that you can't wait to retire.
Right.
And retirement, in this case, is a promise that was marketed to you since you were a child, like a ClickFunnels landing page with a 40-year countdown timer. Little do you realize that your idea of retirement is just another vacation that you will get bored of, because that's how the mind works. The core mechanism of our brains is that they are pattern-making machines evolved to solve specific problems with limited resources, not to handle unlimited possibilities. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, the guy we always talk about because he's awesome, and the godfather of flow psychology, argued that happiness comes from taking control over the contents of our consciousness, creating what we know as the flow state, periods of complete absorption where people experience deep enjoyment, creativity, and the total involvement with life. So, order in consciousness equals enjoyment. Chaos in consciousness, or disorder in the mind, or mental disorder, equals chaos, equals not enjoyment. So again, you don't want freedom. You want the freedom to create your own rules of the game. You don't want to be assigned goals from parents, teachers, or employers, but you mistake that for not wanting structure as a whole. So you crave the one thing, freedom, that will make your life substantially worse. So if you want to increase the enjoyment and creativity and lack of distractions in your life, you need to do what every other successful person has done, and that is to discover and create a set of principles that you operate by. You need to create your own little world and become immersed in it. Most people will try to give you the destination, right? That's what you find on social media and YouTube, even this video, 12 months to change your life. You're attracted toward the destination. And then some other people will give you the steps in the journey, but very few people give you the navigation system to create your own destination and create the steps. So in this video, you're not going to find another guru's proven system. Instead, I want to give you a framework, a meta view that allow you to discover what your unique rules can be. So these are 12 rules to change your life, or 12 rules to create your own rules. Rule 1, and the thing that absolutely has to come first here, because all other rules or anything else in your life is downstream of this, and that is to reject the average life. Reject being regular. Reject being boring. You have to reach this point in your life where you realize that you don't want to be regular, because life is a series of decisions, and the single decision that determines all other decisions is to vehemently reject the trajectory you were set on at birth. When you truly despise the outcome of being like everyone else, you begin to form an anti-vision. We talk about this all the time because it's important. So if you already know about this, it could be wise to come back to it. If it didn't work for you the first time, that's because you may not have been in the life situation where it would have actually worked. This isn't something that you sit down for 30 minutes and do and expect it to work because you're here for a quick dopamine hit and you want to feel like you have control over your life in the next 30 minutes. That's not how it works. This is a lifelong thing. So if you want to create this potent negative source of energy that can lead you toward the positive, right? So you have both ends. You don't just think positively and hope that you move towards it. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. It's not a sustainable tactic, but you can round that out by having a negative side too. But if you get absorbed in the negative, then obviously your life is going to end up negative. So you need both, but this is the foundation.
So he puts it out like, I didn't realize how much I really do view his point of view pretty similar to mine. You know,
Yeah, this one is very successful because
Mhm.
what he said is you kind of agree with,
Right.
but you didn't realize that you actually agree with that.
No, it actually makes logical sense, and I think it's like
So basically, what
pretty
he
cool.
does is he write his philosophy and his values down, and using points to prove his values, and then he present it in a just like a stand-up comedy. You write jokes and then you present it. It's the same thing, right? You find problems in your life, and then you find out the solutions, and the solution is tied to your value. So you have to prove that why you're using the solutions with your value.
Very potent energy source that can push you toward the positive. Every time you experience something you dislike, write it down.
I was just thinking about that. Going positive. I had an idea of like it's a vlog, and I wanted to title.
How to make sure your relatives sharing fake news to you.
Say that again?
The solution of find out that your relative is sharing fake news to you.
Yeah, I mean, he's almost accurate, but not entirely. So it was like, oh, okay. I mean, there are people that are getting an extra, bump in minimum wage, but not everyone. And then similar to the IG video.
You're so patient with me.
Okay.
So he's saying that negative energy is actually a force to push you to the positive.
Yeah.
Heading if you keep doing the very potent energy source that can push you toward the positive. Every time you experience something you dislike, write it down. Go on a walk and think about where your life is heading if you keep doing the same things. Reflect on your past and note what you never want to experience again. Gather all of the data points you skipped over while you were under the spell of someone else's structure. Once you actually do this, and once this anti-vision is at least somewhat clear in your head, right? It's kind of potent. You feel it, and you will feel it. You can now stop, think, and consider whether or not you should make a certain decision in your life, because now you have something to work away from. And what that means is that you can make a choice that leads to a better life. If you simply have an anti-vision and make decisions that move you away from that, you're moving in a better life direction. But now we can make that even more accurate by having something to aim towards. So that leads to rule number 2, which is to commit to excellence. And now I try to say these things without sounding arrogant, but you guys only have an image of me in your head, right? You guys watch my videos and you have this idea of who I am, and that's like 1% of who I am. You don't see me or talk to me on a daily basis. You just know me from my videos, and that's perfectly fine. I'm here to do what I need to do. So I say this to illustrate a point, is that I've never had a problem knowing what I want out of life, simply because I knew what I didn't want from the start. My fiance / wife, I'm just going to call her my wife at this point, is getting her Pilates certification, and her instructor, the big boss Pilates girl, told my wife how to fix her posture over time. And the way you do that is whenever you're in a public space, you just judge people's posture, because then when you notice, oh, that's what bad looks like, then you slowly correct your own. The same holds true for me. And now I know judging people sounds bad. Let's call it observation and discernment. But when I was younger, I would go to the grocery store, I would see someone who didn't look how I wanted to look or act like I wanted to act, and I could see what they were purchasing at the store, how they were shopping, how they were speaking to other people, and it was pretty easy for me to correct my own actions to not do that. I would go to school, I would go to church, and I would see, it's just in plain sight. You can see things that you don't want to do. You can see mediocrity all around you just because that's.
I can see what he's saying from that point of view. Like,
effort.
It's funny because I'm writing something similar to that, like writing down the experience of like, you know, how my perspective of working at a market, right? The market is probably the closest thing to strangers interacting with each other outside of your neighbors. You know what I mean? So when you have, hundreds of people come to your place all the time or come to the store all the time, you think like, oh, like how do you engage with all of these people, And not everyone, I would say, is like given the, same amount over and over. Like everybody's getting equally the same because people are coming in with different energy all the time,
I like that he's very committed to his relationship because before they even got married, he's like, she's my wife already.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt.
No, this guy makes definitive choices. That's why he never worries about.
I'm sure he has his worry.
You think so? I don't know.
I think a lot of the thoughts generated from a lot of painful experiences and decisions. If a person never experienced pain or struggle, they would never reach this kind of level of thinking. It's hard,
Mm-hmm.
Into creating their own vision.
Yeah, it's like he used to hate his job.
And
he used to find 100 needs. So he went through the struggle. It's not necessarily like trauma, but he definitely had his pain and struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Things that you don't want to do. You can see mediocrity all around you just because that's the natural state of how things are unless people put effort into creating their own vision and pursuing it, which most people just don't do. So judge or observe society more. You don't need to tell them these things. You simply observe and correct your own actions. So from that, when I was a kid, it was pretty easy for me to figure out what I had to do. I had to commit to excellence. I had to do something great. And for me, that looked like becoming an entrepreneur, no matter how many times I failed. And it took 7 failures so I can control how long I work and what I work on. I also knew I had to build a strong aesthetic and energetic body by making training and nutrition a non-negotiable. In other words, I had to become my own teacher and personal trainer. I had to learn all of these things. I still love studying these things. It's so fun to learn about the intricacies of your body and how chemicals and nutrients and really anything interact.
Yeah, that's actually really true. Most of the times we watch stuff is mainly through like how to improve your,
So this guy is about self-improvement.
Yeah,
so,
mind, body, spirit. Yeah.
So his niche is about improving himself, and that's all aspects: relationships, health, wealth, exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Standing. Your decisions are kind of automatic because when you know, oh, I'm putting this thing into my mouth, here's all the downstream horrible effects, especially long term. You just don't want to put it in your mouth, no matter how good it tastes. You see it as slop.
Mm-hmm. I feel that. Not sure about my husband though.
And the last thing I knew,
it's so funny. Things you say while we're on the live feed right now. I think that's awesome because you're just being yourself.
I don't remember what
strong mind through the progressive.
Certain nostalgia candy are pretty good.
I think when he said once, I heard him say that he thinks failure is a compass in life. Like if you fail, then this is the wrong direction.
That's the wrong direction. Yeah.
So he said you have to fail because that's your compass. Just like you're playing a video games.
Yeah.
You go the wrong way, so that's the way you don't have to go.
That's exactly true. Because the Hollow Knights, right? You have to go back and you have to It's funny that how we can look at other perspectives and
we have to look at life as game. Otherwise, it's a lot of burden.
Yeah.
You know, oh, I lose all this money, I fail, I'm a failure. But
Right.
those are compass.
Those are compass.
When you engage, oh, I die and then I come again. You know, you don't care. You're just frustrated.
You just don't want to put it in your mouth, no matter how good it tastes. You see it as slop. And the last thing, I knew that I had to nurture a strong mind through the progressive overload of uncertainty and emotional.
He's using progressive overload. That's muscle training.
Mm.
So how you train muscle to be bigger is progressive overload.
Right.
So how do you train a strong mind? Mind is like muscle, progressive overload of uncertainty. So how do you train your muscle is the weight of the things of uncertainty. Train your brain muscle to become stronger with uncertainty and failure.
Right. Right.
So it's progressive overload on the mind too.
Yeah.
Mind and body.
So almost like being able to be capable to take in more stress.
Not necessarily stress, but because your mind is stronger.
Mm-hmm.
When you see these things coming, you don't become as stressed as.
That's right. You minimize the stress by already taking on like the concept of like.
Because strength exercise is a stress on the body.
Right.
Whenever you lift weights, it's a stress on the body.
Mm-hmm.
But it's different from like an unnecessary stress.
Mm-hmm.
It's a healthy stress.
It's a healthy stress. In a lot of ways, it's a choice. It's a stress choice.
Yeah.
Like you choose to do this because you know. So in a lot of ways, it's not as much because if it's all in scales, a work stress is different than a house stress.
That's why progressive overload is very important, because progressive overload means that if your body can only take 5 pounds of stress, don't lift something.
Don't lift like 50
20
pounds.
Right.
Right.
So for the mind, the same. Why a lot of people are so stressful because they're taking off the stress load that's over their capability.
Right.
So he's mean progressive overload, like when your mind can only take 5 pounds of stress, only lift 5 pounds of stress.
Right.
Meaning
and then you build it up.
Meaning that you post a video and then you might have negative feedback, and that's a stress you can deal with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or like doing a live stream, like
you're not at the place to just throw $1 million to a business. Mm-hmm. That's 100 pounds of stress.
Right.
So you start from small stress to build. That's progressive overload.
Right.
Just like the muscle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
So this commitment to excellence created some form of a vision. So if I trained my mind to stay within that frame, if I didn't get distracted, that's what distracted is. It's breaking outside of your frame of reference and not bringing yourself back in your frame of reference. How you interpret and see the world and make decisions is formed. One half is your vision, commitment to excellence, and the second half is your anti-vision, which is moving away from mediocrity. So when you are in this little world, that's your little world, that's the outer frame of the code that you live your life by. If you can just do that, your life will end up great, no matter the steps you take, because the steps are going to be going from anti-vision all over the place, somewhere to vision. You're not going to hit an exact spot, but you're just moving in the right direction. It makes sense. Now, my examples of becoming an entrepreneur and fixing my body and nurturing my mind, those may not resonate with you, but I have a feeling that everyone wants some form of those things. They want freedom, right? They misinterpret their desire for freedom as retirement or what the default path set them on. In reality, what they want is to grow. They want to evolve. They want to transcend and include their past self. They want to solve their own problems, remove the limits on their potential. You know deep down that the answer to what do I do with my life is to progress in the only areas that matter: mind, body, spirit, business. Business is also partially spirit. It's value exchange, it's community, it's contributing to the world that you take resources from. You're giving back. The problem here is that the fear of the unknown, the fear of doing something different with your life, is greater than the fear of ending up like everyone else. So we need to decrease that perceived fear of stepping into the unknown. That way, ending up like everyone else takes priority, and then you are more likely to act. So that leads to rule number 3, which is that standards create identity. You aren't where you want to be because you are okay with where you are. If you are okay with having 50 cents in your bank account, you won't have the desire to change that. and many opportunities to improve your health, relationships, or finances will be closed off to you. Now, if you're okay with $100,000 in your bank account, you will see anything less than that as a problem that needs to be fixed.
That's very true. You know, I think like this is the first time ever I would say is like because of how much we saved up and how much you saved up. Like I feel much lighter than not having any money in any kind of like even just cash flow, right? Because even with just a little bit of investment outside of just yourself, you can always have that as a form of emergency, comfortably, right?
But the money is also energy. If you always think you're not going to have enough, then you will end up with just that much money.
Yeah, that's true too. For
Right?
sure. Yeah.
So I think the reason why we are where we are right now is because over the years we build ourselves to be more positive and have better energy.
Mm-hmm.
That equates to the money in our bank.
Right.
Now you're comparing to while you're in debt and your energy, and comparing to now, it's different. And comparing to when I was in New York, and right now we're in. So you realize when you actually become a better person with better energy, you have more money.
Yeah.
So
I think most of the time. I mean, there are people who look at money and think of a kind of like hoarding the money, which is also a form of energy too.
But those are kind of people normally don't become wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
They only become rich with a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. What's your difference between that?
Wealthy is that you can create business that benefit the society and other people.
Rich
is that you hoard the money just for yourself and your family.
Mm. Okay.
So rich has a cap.
Mm-hmm.
Wealthy doesn't have a cap because the more people you benefit, the more you receive, the more money you receive.
Yeah, that's true.
As projects are what make life enjoyable, because projects are another way to bring order to consciousness, as we discussed about. So you're more likely to live in some degree of a flow state if your life is just a series of projects that solve problems, that remove the limits on your potential so that you can commit and pursue excellence. Now, when you have high standards, your mind's survival mechanism notices opportunities that help you maintain those standards, right? We don't only survive or reproduce on a physical level, but on a mental level as well. We don't only have a physical body, we have a mental body. It's called our identity. Our mind has evolved to survive on the conceptual level as well. If your identity is threatened or your standards are threatened, then you quite literally feel stressed. Dogs don't do that because they don't have language, right? They don't live in the world of concepts. So if your money in the bank is lower than the standard of what you have, you will feel that pain, and that pain will push you to get back above that standard.
That makes kind of almost sense. That's why I almost feel like if a rich person loses a lot of money,
they can find other ways to earn it back.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's wealth. But I'm talking about, how a lot of people just spend the money and then if they would never want to feel themselves like be making $50,000 a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you are making $2.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
So your stress level from going down there is even much more heightened because then you're having to do more things to maintain a certain standard. Mm-hmm. That's what I kind of heard.
No, he's saying that if you set a standard for yourself, that anything less than that standard will make you feel pain, and you will want to keep up to your own standard. You're like, I want to not have diabetes instead of like, I'm okay with having diabetes. I'm okay with taking pills.
Right.
Then you just like eat sweets and stuff every day. But if you tell us that I cannot have I cannot have diabetes, I don't want to have diabetes, then you will make sure you exercise and eat well.
Yeah.
That's your standard.
Okay.
Right? Your standard is that I'm okay with taking diabetes pills. Then you will just continue to live a life with unhealthy diets.
Mm-hmm.
That's a standard. So I'm okay with getting fat. Then you're just like lying there all day without exercise. So if you realize that, okay, fat leads me to have heart problems. I don't want to die. I don't want to have old age and heart problems. Then you will make sure you exercise because you have a standard of not wanting those things. So he's saying that if you don't want to have less than $10,000, then you will push yourself to become creative with business, and then you will want to earn more than 10,000 because you have a standard.
Yeah.
That's where dopamine comes into play. You notice survival opportunities. Your Google searches start to change to acquire better skills. You start having conversations about money with your friends. All of these tiny choices begin to compound into results. You rewire your thinking patterns based on your intentional search for specific information relating to the problem you are facing. So if you surround yourself with people, physical or digital, that make it seem like it's okay to be 100 pounds overweight or have zero money.
That's exactly what I said. If you are, see why obese people hang out with obese people, because that makes them lower their standard. Like, okay, it's okay to be 200 pounds. It's okay to eat pizzas all day. Because you're surrounding yourself with lower standard, you automatically lower your standard. Right? Why like these podcasters, Joe Rogan or Diary of CEO, they invite people with higher standard because that lets them, if they every day they invite a guest with high standard and they talk to them, even though you're not really like even though you might be this person, but if you are surrounding yourself with these people, then you become higher standard. That's why like they invite all the kinds of experts or people, because that's give you a perspective of
how you want to live.
Right. You don't see
but also again, I think it's like to be, because like our standards is why if you think about it, our standard is the reason why we're listening to him right now, because he resonates with us a lot. I think those who are overweight, obese, and you know, some of them are proudly that they are obese, right? Obese. But like, I just think that, you know, how do you in that way like look at those who make those choices too, right? It's like, man.
That's why people in the blue zone live longer.
Right.
Because
like none of them, well, except for the lady in Spain. Was it Spain or?
No, there's Spain.
Italy. Isn't it Italy? Some of those women were pretty curvy.
Yeah. I'm just saying in general, like,
but they're still nice.
In general, the town in California, where like, because there's a standard in community, like you gotta exercise. You see everybody's doing it. It's easier that everybody sets the standard. So he's saying that if we are living in the world that the standard is chaos, you gotta set standard for yourself and set rules for yourself.
Right.
Otherwise, you always be miserable because you're living by other people's standards, other people's rules.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
I see what your point is. Yeah.
And if you live in an obese town and you don't want to be obese and everybody's obese, what are you gonna do? Right.
It's a tough one too. Yeah.
Right.
Work a job you hate, or stay with a partner you despise, or get drunk every night, and the rest. Yeah. How do you think your life will end up? Now,
that's why we don't drink anymore, or we drink like a few times in the.
I never get drunk because I never really like the feeling of getting drunk, and I don't truly enjoy alcohol as much. I'm like, oh, it tastes good, but I don't need to.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
More than one glass, you know.
Yeah.
Or have zero money, or work a job you hate, or stay with a partner you despise, or get drunk every night, and the rest. How do you think your life will end up? Now, if your standards require you to eat clean, then you will look at McDonald's and discuss. And actually, let's talk about this. On my last video, I threw a metaphor in it where I said, social media is the fast food of socialization, blah, blah, blah. Video games are the fast food of entertainment. And people did not like that. But what you're not understanding is the point. I eat fast food sometimes, and that's okay.
Exactly.
White Wellness Criminal Justice Program doesn't.
I know it.
You have to think critically and use your knowledge to advocate for justice. If you're passionate about making a difference and learning how to use the law as a tool for change, PLMU is a great place to start.
Incoming dishes! Dawn Power Wash flies through 99% of grease and grime in half the time time.
Yeah, it's not like I don't eat, like when I go to Asian sometimes I'll be like, I don't think it's as healthy.
Yeah.
But I eat it, but I know
But not
that
all the time.
I know I won't live like that all the time.
All the time. Yeah.
And when I eat it,
I think
I
that's
have
how I look at it.
like I don't eat like I don't go all out and eat like donuts and ice cream and cookies and all in one setting to make myself sick.
Yeah, I need it.
Weak erections? Check out this chewable mint.
So funny. These things like exploded or something.
Because
Why are you so sensitive when they said that?
It's such a crazy commercial to have like come out of nowhere.
video games are a fast food of entertainment, and people did not like that. But what you're not understanding is the point.
Mhm.
I eat fast food sometimes.
That's okay.
That's okay, because I understand its overall impact on my progress in my life. Sure, there are games that aren't inherently entropic to your mind and you can play them, but for most people, for my past self, again, I'm speaking from experience here, where I'm clocking 12 hours a day of World of Warcraft, just ruining my life. That is not something to be defended. If you have the desire to tell me or justify why video games are good for you, then that's kind of a surefire sign that they're not. Because if you were comfortable and had a big picture and nuanced understanding of your life and where video games sat in it, you wouldn't feel the need to defend yourself because you would feel confident in what you're saying.
Yeah.
So
It's like the games that I'm playing right now. Like I know it's just fun, but I'm not going to devote all my entire life to it.
Not going to really benefit you
Yeah.
as a person.
I just know that because like honestly, I have from what I'm doing right now is a pretty structured morning ritual or morning routine, and like my habits, I enjoy them.
You don't have to defend it.
I'm just saying, I do enjoy it, but I'm talking about the video game. I'm just talking about feedback experience. It's not defending. I'm just giving feedback on what I'm saying. Okay.
where we left off, you only think this sounds stupid, eating clean, or looking at McDonald's in disgust, or looking at video games in disgust, because your standards are abysmal. Someone who values fitness find it painful when they don't have the option to eat clean. It's not hard for them, it's actually enjoyable to eat clean. You find it painful not to eat clean. So those are standards, but there's also something that, let's just call them anti-standards for the sake of cohesiveness, and we can consider these what you are not willing to do or sacrifice to achieve your goals. So we're just continuing to narrow our frame so that we can't get distracted and we can become more in flow state and enjoy our lives. For myself, I have one goal out of many of building a business, but I am not willing to sacrifice my health like most people do, or my relationships like most people do. And most people think that that's just a natural part of starting a business. You have to sacrifice those things. You have to work long hours. No, you don't. Because setting constraints is how you actually get creative results.
It's like,
because
perfect example, it's like, I hear this and I hear like some stories about Elon Musk and the things that he used to do in order to like live a certain way, right? Like
but that's not sacrifice to him. He's not sacrifice. He loves just doing that.
Wait.
So he's saying that you have to have. He's saying that some people think you have to sacrifice your health and relationships in order to be successful.
Right.
So he said he's not willing to sacrifice relationships
or
and
his health. Yeah.
Because he values relationships and health.
Right.
But if you're a person who doesn't value relationships, who don't care about how many kids you have, who don't care if you spend time with your kids or not, then that's not sacrifice.
Oh.
Because all you think is just work, and work is 100% enjoyable, then nothing is sacrificed to you.
Right.
Right?
That's true.
So Elon Musk is operating on a different way that he doesn't need family time.
Right.
He just needs to have different women to have babies with. He doesn't care if those babies grow up to be without a dad or not.
in order to
like that. Constantly with them? Maybe he does. We don't know.
I don't think he really care about living a big house or whatever.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, so that's not sacrifice to Elon Musk.
Yeah.
He thinks very different, you know. this guy thinks he values his health and he values his
Yeah.
relationship and he's not willing to sacrifice those things he values.
Yeah.
We don't know if Elon Musk values his relationships or his health.
To sacrifice those things, you have to work long hours. No, you don't. Because setting constraints is how you actually get creative results. Because in order to do that, it's more difficult. In order to not sacrifice your health or your relationships or how much you work, you have to think creatively so that you can build a business, as an example, to do those things. That requires you to figure things out on your own and come to your own insights and conclusions and really understand what your goals are. Let's say you were to commit to 4 hours a day of work instead of 12 hours a day of work like most hustle and grind entrepreneurs. Then you would end up like someone like J.K. Molina, who left working with his agency with another person for 12 hours a day, making a lot of money. But he was like, I have the knowledge and skill to make $1 million working 4 hours a day. He's actually working 3 hours a day. But when you do that, your mind notices higher leverage business opportunities that you wouldn't have noticed when you're pursuing another goal.
Yeah.
So for him, his offer and how he delivers it is so valuable that he can charge higher prices, work with less people, and work less time on it. Now that's enough for that. So let's talk about rule number 4, which is just project-based learning. Because you know what you don't want out of life, and you have an idea for what you want out of life, and now you need to acquire the skills and knowledge that bridge the gap between both. So how do you start moving into the unknown? By having a way to order any potential chaos along the way. Personal projects. Because the best way to learn is to build a real world project and only search for information when you need it. How much you learn is directly correlated with how much progress you make on the project. When you do something like watch endless tutorials, you just fill your mind with excess noise. Most of that information goes to waste because you don't apply it, right? We've all experienced this. You learn all.
That's why I felt like if we just keep learning, like that's my tip. Sometimes I just keep falling into like just reading and learning instead of like not really applying to a project. So I'm like slowly like planning out and writing like like even if just writing a small paragraph a day, but you're actually making progress.
Yeah.
It's
book. And then when it comes to talk to your friend about the actual concept,
I mean, we're doing what I'm trying to do with live streaming. It's just like it's part of the process. Like right now, I can definitely feel moments of like uneasiness because I don't know like what kind of people may be watching this, you know. But
then maybe it's just another dude. Just imagine it's a younger dude.
That's true. I have to continue to put out like, okay, who am I wanting to attract? Because now I know what I don't want. I don't want any. I tried to aim for like not negative comments and just showing my point of view from a live streaming event.
But again, I think I really like his point because before I was afraid of like there are people with different opinion on the internet. But he said like you are whenever you put out yourself or your product, your service, you're arguing your life. You're arguing your life. Yeah. You're arguing. So if you're arguing, then people can disagree. But you still try to find ways to prove your point.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have the right to argue, and people have the right to disagree.
Yeah.
And you don't have to agree with people.
Mm-hmm.
And if you become agreeable with everyone, you are an agreeable person, you agree with everything, then you're just a person without your own opinion.
Yeah.
It's the only way that for you to build your niche, for you to become your niche, and for you to build a unique brand is for you to become someone that's different with different opinion that people might not agree with.
Right. And be okay with just not agreeing with everything. You know, it's like that doesn't mean that they're not human beings. That doesn't mean they're less. That doesn't mean like anything. It means that there are ways and tools there are so many tools and ways now that you can structure your mind and body and spirit to align with ideally what you're trying to aim for.
Yeah.
You know?
So I think what this guy is saying that your goal becomes so strong that no matter what people say, you're very goal oriented.
Yeah.
So it doesn't like just like Joe Rogan, like a lot of people was like bashing on his comments before, but he did not stop being Joe Rogan podcast because his goal is to create this podcast. So whatever that other distraction that may happen doesn't hurt
Stop
you,
them
stop
from
you
doing-
from doing what you are doing.
Yeah, I think there is a small but yet like, valuable thing to, from my perspective, right? And I come from as an actor, and so it's like acting background, and thinking like, what I've always wanted was to, make people laugh and like bring out, sides of me that so people can understand me, and right or wrong, I think that's like what's vulnerable. That's what's like acting was all about. But now I'm just myself, more or less. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm sure there's like, oh, this radish is so spicy.
Good for you. Let them go people.
Yeah, go pick that.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Very, very good for you.
Mm. Mm. Oh, oof. Spicy radish. By itself is pretty strong, but with other food. But I was like, I'll eat that last. Okay. Okay. To learn more, go live section. Okay. On the live section,
Alrighty.
Get to know Twitch, monetize. How do you go live?
What's this?
This is Twitch. So I wanted to just see live learning. What? Okay, you ready?
Ready.
Okay.
Case because you don't apply it, right? We've all experienced this. You read a book, and then when it comes to talk to your friend about the actual concept or what you learned, you're like stuttering and you can't articulate it because most of what you learned went to waste because you didn't apply it. Now, am I saying that reading books is bad? No. Am I saying that watching YouTube videos is bad? No. What I'm saying is that that's not learning. That's entertainment. It's for another domain of your life. Maybe it's for mental clarity or calming your mind or stress relief or something of that nature. But is it for learning? No. And I mean, sure, it can be for learning, but it's a very ineffective way to learn. But the other thing with that is if you're reading a bunch of books for the sake of learning and for YouTube and watching YouTube for the sake of learning, you're filling your mind with endless options. You're just creating more chaos. Now, a project can be anything. Your health can be a project. Your business can be a project. An image in Photoshop can be a project. A project is simply a structured way of achieving a goal or making progress toward a goal. A project is when a plan and a strategy meet action. So don't focus on a plan, don't focus on a strategy. Those are byproducts of a project, and then you act and build a project and iterate on the plan and the strategy, because the plan and the strategy without action and without iteration are just a list of things that aren't going to happen. The bridge between where you are and where you want to be is a series of projects that reflect the value you've developed in yourself. And if you'd like, you can turn that project into a product because you've solved a problem in your own life and can now help others do the same.
So basically what he's saying that where you want to be is a lot of projects actually
Right.
reflect your own value and reflect who you are.
Yeah.
You find yourself through this journey.
Mm-hmm.
And then because finding who you are in a series of problems that you get to solve, you can help other people by building a product.
Yeah.
You know? Saying like, okay, got that pumpkin, this pumpkin. So like you're in Trader Joe's and you have like a lot of like food pain and back problems, right? You learn how to solve those, and then you can now like, okay, your projects maybe film a video like, okay, if you work a physical labor job, if you have these problems, I have these problems. How I'm just bringing an example like how I solve my problem or what I do day to relieve my pain, and that's one of the problems. If you solve it, simply just show people how you solve it, right? And like, oh, I had this relationship problem with my wife, and then how we solved this problem by communicating with each other, and then what we decided, what's our action deciding. That's another project, you know.
Yeah, there's many projects to.
We don't just talk about problems. We decide that we are going to act on it by learning something together, watching something together, in order to.
Yeah, this is like the Dan Koe project. You know, because learning just
Dan
really good.
Koe.
Project is the only qualification you need to start earning an independent income. Now, if you're struggling to think through all of these things, your anti-vision, your vision, and now your projects, your plan, I would recommend going through the Life Reset prompt. I'll link it in the description, but it helps you with questions, it converses with you to come up with all of these things, and it spits out a document with kind of your entire life plan that isn't static, that you can iterate on and improve. Now, rule number 5 after projects is daily levers. Every single day, complete at least 1 to 3 priority tasks that move the needle toward completing your project. That is the only piece of productivity advice you will ever need in your life. Now, a good rule of thumb for this is this. After 2 weeks, if you haven't made any noticeable progress toward your goals, you are not moving the right levers. You are doing something wrong. Most people won't admit that, or they will intentionally do busy work to avoid making progress because secretly they want to fail. And that's an even bigger problem. Your mind notices opportunities to achieve your goals. That's what it does. And most people have this deep and unconscious programmed goal of staying the same. So that's what they work toward, and they don't even realize it. So far, our frame, the thing that is going to bring enjoyment to our life, the code that we operate by, is composed of anti-vision, then standards, then projects, then levers that lead to progress away from mediocrity and toward excellence.
So this anti-vision is things that you don't want to become.
Right.
And vision is that what you want to become. So if you know what you don't want to become, so that's when you know you want to go to the opposite direction. And then you will set standards like, okay, if my vision is to become a healthy person with individual income without relying on a company, then you will set standards for yourself, like how much money I want to earn. And then you will start to have projects, and then like how do you accomplish these projects? Say like, okay, if I just want to post a video, then the levers is everything you do to accomplish this video. The one video is a project, or like a thread, or an article, or an essay,
or just live Twitch, or
then you just write one paragraph every day until you finish your whole essay that you can post online, or you can make that into a video, or anything that's your creativity.
Yeah.
But you just move a little bit, but you know the project is leading to your vision and leading to the life that you want.
Yeah.
So it's like making everything into a small steps instead of like, I want $1 million, and then you just, oh, it's so far away. So okay, $1 million.
We're attaining. We can in our lifetime we can attain $1 million.
More than $1 million.
Of course, more than $1 million. But
I'm just not in our just like you prove backward.
Yeah.
Okay, then I need a product. Okay, how am I going to build a product and get people to buy? I need an audience. How do I find audience? I need to put myself out there. How do I put myself out there? Through social media. So what am I going to put on social media? Either my video or my work or my article. Then you will start to you just push backwards into like, okay, if I want to post a video, what do I need to do? And probably need to plan this video and what I'm going to say in this video. And then you start to write like a script for this video. And then you can write just like a little bit of script, and then you move to
you make more. You build and build and build. I think that's the I mean, like you feel like everything around you is your playground. You don't feel that it's like a trap, or like you're not going to be productive.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in this day and age right now where you have the capabilities to be truly like self-efficient, because there's so much technology out there that if you do it the right way and you funnel the right way and a group of people really support you, your super fans, right? Then at that point you're very grateful, because then you're able to connect with people similar and like-mindedness, And I think that's like having the courage to be able to put yourself out there, even when you face like, like things you might say, it might have just been like at the top of your head and like you just said it, but it doesn't mean that you're a bad person,
We operate
or a good person.
is composed of anti-vision, then standards, then projects, then levers that lead to progress away from mediocrity and toward excellence, creating a tight feedback loop that makes life an enjoyable game. For the most part. That's the foundation, and that's what pushes you deeper into the unknown. But how do you actually navigate the highs, lows, emotions, and uncertainty along the way? So rule number 6 is to become a deep generalist. Let's start this with a quote from Daniel Schmachenberger that I've said before. Traditional education and hyper-specialization.
Just said Daniel Berger on the This is when that's when Google gave up and like Schmachenberger. Not Google, YouTube.
Is subservient to the dominant paradigm or system. Study the generalized principles of nature and be a deep generalist. Because humans are natural generalists. We don't thrive in a specific niche. Like a polar bear thrives in Alaska. If it were to go to the savannah where a lion thrives, it would die. And if a lion went to the Alaska, it would also die. But humans, we go to Alaska because we built tools. We built a coat. We built air conditioning and heating. We go to the savannah and we have a car with air conditioning, or we have a water bottle, which animals don't have. So humans build tools. You're a tool builder. Humans build tools to adapt and thrive in any environment.
So you see what's happening is that you do all these projects, and along the way you will find out like, how do I do this project? And then you'll find tools to build this project. And then the tools is something that you can sell, because the tools is a system that help you.
Or like a service.
Yeah, a service or whatever, because your tools is like, okay, how I make my foot less painful, or how I make sure I don't hurt myself. Your exercise is your tool to maintain a healthy body.
Right.
So that tool is something that you can provide as a service, or a product or a service. They're all just like something you can exchange for values.
And this extends beyond physical tools. Humans invented mental tools like language, culture, concepts, religion, and stories so they could adapt, build, and acquire the knowledge and skills necessary to thrive in any situation. This is the ability that makes us unique. This is the ability that most people have lost. You see, as children, we love to adventure. We love to discover. We love to figure things out. We make mistakes and we learn from them. We touch fire. We take risks. But then our learning stops being about real mistakes. It starts being about the traits our parents and teachers dislike in us, the traits they find annoying or uncivilized, the traits they don't think will lead to the version of success they were conditioned to believe is the only one true path, and they haven't opened their mind to the discovery that there is never only one true path. And what is that one true path? What's the default path? It's the reason you feel so lost, confused, anxious, overwhelmed, and the rest. It was the path that was supposed to be safe and secure, but was the least safe and secure. You were plopped in front of a government-trained expert, trained by government-trained experts who are clearly not doing what you want to do in life for 6 hours each day, being told what to learn and how to act while constantly being prodded toward the status symbol of a job and degree. And if you understand how the mind works, you understand that the goals that compose your worldview, fancy degrees and high-paying jobs, determine your mind's potential development and freedom. Your pain determines what you see. So give yourself permission to study and pursue multiple interests. You have the internet, you have AI.
That's interesting. He put it in a philosophical way to basically said that there were
fuck school, fuck teacher, fuck government.
I mean, it's like, oh wow, that's actually pretty accurate. And
that's exactly what we are thinking. But see, we have the same value. We think like this guy. There's nothing new. Again, there's nothing new in everything that he said.
Yeah.
But he put it in a way that you like it.
Right.
And keep reminding you. So he's right. Everything is already said and been done by everybody.
Right.
But the way how you do it is unique.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows how to jump, do roll jumping. But
right.
If you teach people how to do roll jumping, it's your way of teaching. It's different. Right?
Yeah. Because you have maybe a different technique that might be beneficial, like having different
people will click with different people.
Yeah, it's just part of it. It's just part of it.
Your aim determines what you see. So give yourself permission to study and pursue multiple interests. You have the internet, you have AI. Go and learn something. Now, rule number 7 is that entrepreneurship is spiritual. Here's my prediction with this. I've talked about this a few times, but in brief, the future of work will consist mostly of entrepreneurs, and if not entrepreneurs, elite employees who have entrepreneurial traits in increasingly rare positions. The entry level will go extinct. AI isn't replacing the bar, it's raising the bar.
Right.
So this leaves us with 2 options. Rely on government support with a marginal chance at a good life, or take full responsibility and become an
Exactly.
Unfortunately,
this is very, very. I totally agree with him. Like, I think it's like from how I see things, it's just like, oh, it's like, again, you think about like how you have to do like these, either government jobs because it's secure and beneficial.
It's not even saying government jobs. It's like you either rely on government to give you social benefits.
Social benefits, yeah.
Or like just receiving like social security.
Right.
Or you
become an entrepreneur. Yeah, that's the only way.
That's the only way, because in the future, all of these jobs will be replaced by robots and AI.
Right. Yeah.
Entrepreneurship and business have become dirty words. People believe entrepreneurship is reserved for talented people with a lot of money and a lot of time. So let me redefine it really quick. The difference between employee and entrepreneur is the difference between low agency and high agency. High agency individuals create their own goals and pursue them without permission. Low agency individuals are assigned goals and pursue them because their programming doesn't allow them to see other options.
Correct.
Industrial style schooling and employment breed complacency and are dangerous for your psyche. It goes against your nature of needing uncertainty and challenge and constant improvement to thrive. Growth, evolution, that's what the universe is doing, that's what you're doing. And you trying to stop it, to stagnate and become comfortable, is making your life worse. People climb ladders like the corporate ladder because their mind craves challenge, but eventually they get so used to it that it becomes boring, right? Vacation, retirement, you're going to go into it, you're going to like it for a bit, then it's going to become boring. You need that next challenge. And usually that involves work. But that's the other thing, is that most people hate their work. So they don't think that there is good work. They don't think that they can create their work. They don't think that they can pursue their life's work and actually enjoy work and control it. So it's my belief, at least, that entrepreneurship is the only logical option for long-term thinkers. It's the path of uncertainty, requiring skills not taught in schools. You must be okay with failure, rejection, and slow progress. So stop thinking of employee and entrepreneur as titles. Think of them as states of mind. Employees are passive individuals told what to learn. Entrepreneurs are assertive individuals who set their own vision, learn by curiosity, and create solutions that push humanity forward. The secret is cultivating a skill set so impactful that you can't help but share it. You solve your own problems, sell the solution, and improve humanity. That's entrepreneurship. Employment isn't our natural state.
Here he is now.
I'm just trying to make sense of all this data.
Just get Saspaya.
Saspaya.
Oh, wow. The quickest way from a billion points of data to a point of view. Saspaya.
Try gummy vitamins from Nature Made. The #1 pharmacist recommended vitamin and
these
supplement brand.
ads.
A regional director at the Social Security Administration is raising concerns over what's being called the $255.
Your psyche is wired to hunt, but today's threats are psychological and spiritual, not physical.
Entrepreneur.
Nobody wants to be.
Entrepreneur. He had some really solid ones right there. Is spiritual.
Yeah, exactly.
That was really powerful.
Because to become spiritual, you have to really think for yourself and go through a lot of challenges. But if you're comfortable, then that means that you don't have real challenges, and then it's hard to become spiritual without really challenges.
Yeah, I think that's just true with just like, I think that's like human beings, that you have to be at you're growing. You're not a child. Like every phase is, we're always growing.
We're always growing with some form of mistakes. You learn from your mistake. You don't learn from like, if you grow up and never made mistakes, then you never learn, right? You fail, then you learn how to walk. You fail on the ground, right? You fail in relationships, then you know how to find a good wife. What?
Yeah.
It's so funny.
With a monkey in a cubicle, and everyone feels that pull to achieve something greater. That leads into step 8, which is to become a creator. Because for millions of years, creativity was reserved for the gods. Humans didn't know how things worked. We didn't create things. We didn't build tools yet. And then we slowly started to figure it out. We realized, we can create fire. And then down the road, we can create planes. And now we can create AI.
It's insane.
We built tools that
you can literally create different domains based on just your creativity, right?
We transformed the earth. Humans took over the role of creator, but so many have lost their path. And so many are giving up their role as creator to AI. The entire key to using AI well is to maintain
as the
creator. As the creator.
Exactly.
Now, we don't know what the future holds when it comes to AI and other things. It's probably not going to be as drastic as many people made it out to see, myself included. But we know 2 things. 1, problems are infinite. And 2, problems are soluble. No matter how developed we come, there will always be a new problem to solve, because complexity, evolution creates more complexity. Just like how AI allows us to access more information. That's not better to an extent, that's more chaotic. That introduces more problems. And those problems create jobs or opportunities to become an entrepreneur. That allows for more solutions building on top of the current ones. And that can go on forever and ever and ever.
That's why I think like why I'm so interested in like energy healing and learning more about within, is because I think that will be what people will need. Because people, just like how the mind plays crazy tricks on you, you're going to have more information. So how do you go through life knowing that, right? You have to have someone, just like a personal trainer goes through a health, you need someone that's going to help you guide through like a meditation practice. Is he sleeping? I can see otter. It's a guy's class. With the little pink tongue coming out. Oh, he's up. The sea otter is awake.
Solve that problem. Now, here's an excerpt from my book. It's free to read, Purpose and Profit, on my Substack, but I think it gets the point here of becoming a creator across quite well. If happiness or enjoyment is the combination of progress being made and contribution to something greater than yourself, and both are accomplished by solving problems for yourself and others, and problems are solved through creativity, then the only logical and fundamental aim for your future is to embody creativity by becoming a creator. In other words, you find.
Yes. Exactly that.
Section of purpose and profit by creating solutions.
That's why I want to do like all these like fun, interesting things with AI. I'm very grateful for, it's like AI is awesome, like I can do things that I never thought was something that was passable. And now you feel a little bit more optimistic about it. Outside of, I really think from the government to Google and all these big corporations, they have all the information, right? So it's like, what do you say to just trying to be more than like honest and raw as you possibly can? Because you're human, you make mistakes and things like that happens all the time. But showing your vulnerability is very courageous, And by saying that you can now create things, it's like life's pretty good, even though there's like some crazy stuff that is happening right now.
Correct.
You deem interesting, passing on those solutions to contribute to the progress of humanity and repeating the process when the next set of more complex problems arise. Although problems become more complex, you become more equipped with knowledge, skill, and experience to solve them. Life gets better as problems get harder if you learn to keep chaos at bay, which is a problem within itself. With every problem comes the opportunity to reach a new level of purpose. Now, becoming a creator or adopting the role of a creator has always been possible, but it's never been so accessible.
Yeah.
We're in the second renaissance, and it's happening on the internet, everywhere, faster than before. A digital society where anyone can be the next Einstein or Shakespeare. So the path to becoming future-proof is this: shift from consumer to creator. Solve your own problems, distribute your solutions in the global town square, which is the internet. Attract people who share your vision. Even with just 1,000 true fans, you'll find the power to create a good life.
Absolutely.
Now, rule number 9, and an important one, is that uncertainty is signal, not noise. Because you're supposed to feel lost. You're supposed to feel overwhelmed. You're supposed to feel like you have no idea what you're doing. Everyone feels that way. What do you expect to happen when you're trying to change your life or learn something new? Did you just think that all possible knowledge and skill would just be deposited into your head the second you started something? When you commit to excellence, you commit to a life of uncertainty because you commit to a life of learning. Your potential is determined by the amount of uncertainty you're willing to embrace. But the thing is, the most successful people don't even flinch at this. They don't perceive uncertainty as something dangerous. How do they do this? Because they realize that all outsized gains lie in their ability to embrace, manage, and extend uncertainty. They realize that the certain life is the least rewarding. A job is certain. Your paycheck reflects that. A business is uncertain, depending on what level you're operating at. Starting out with a local business or agency work, or freelancing, or even information products is level 1. It's uncertain, but it's simple. And you have a cap of about 1 to 5 million a year before you need to increase the stakes even further by hiring a team or expanding the business model into something like software or physical products. And the same goes for investing. You can invest your savings in a certain 401k, that's level 1, and you can invest in the stock market, that's level 2, because it's kind of predictable and you'll probably make more than in a 401k. And then level 3 is that you can invest in businesses or crypto or even more uncertain assets. Naturally, those have the highest returns on investment, but it requires the ability to navigate and understand risk. So you need to hedge against risk as much as you can, especially when you're just starting to change your life. So you punch just above your weight. You go from level 1 to level 2 to level 3, and you don't take on a challenge you can't handle. If you can handle a level 3 challenge, then take it. And if you want to go further and take the level 3 challenge anyways, then you need to hedge against that by changing your environment and how you live. You need to move into a cheap apartment. You need to live on beans and rice for a year. The more responsibilities that you adopt before you've had a chance to take risks in your youth, the more difficult it is to justify changing your life. That's the horrible trap of the default path. Now, rule number 10, a unique one, is to engineer enthusiasm. Because we hear all the time
engineer
that you need to be obsessed. You need to be obsessed with your goal. Because this is how people describe successful people with an intense spirit. And if you are intense, you have that intense spirit, you have that kind of obsessive personality, that can really hurt your life unless you learn to direct it away from people and toward other things like a skill or an interest or a business. But the real word for this is enthusiasm. That's what we should aim for. that just doesn't feel as cool or edgy as obsession.
Yeah,
The word
I like that.
enthusiasm comes from the Greek word enthusiasmos, with the literal translation of having God within or God inspired. It refers
Another spirit having God within is enthusiasm.
But it's crazy because even when he writes this out, the words that he chooses, he then explains.
That's why he still has a writing class. He said he basically he write 2 hours. That's how he earns his money. But your writing is basically putting down your thoughts,
Right.
and your values and
Right.
your problem, how you solve your problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's same with Rondas,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's same thing what Rondas was doing.
Yeah.
So real wealth comes from here.
Real wealth comes from here. Yeah, I'm all in. It's pretty good.
edgy as obsession. The word enthusiasm comes from the Greek word enthusiasmos, with the literal translation of having God within or God inspired. It referred to being possessed or inspired by a divine spirit, suggesting that true creative or spiritual power came from beyond the individual self. The master key to the good life is to fill your average day with that which makes you enthusiastic. So one of the most important things you can do.
It's saying that to connect with your higher self every day so you can become closer to your goal.
Mm-hmm.
Because your higher self is your enthusiasm.
To reverse engineer where enthusiasm comes from in your life and then eliminate, outsource, or accept all of the things that don't align. Notice which activities make you feel energized, which distort time, and which make focus effortless. Notice what makes you excited, curious, and open-minded. Especially notice when you can't sleep because you are having too many ideas. Do everything in your power to fill your day with more of these and remove things that prevent you from doing so. Literally block off 1 to 2 hours a day to pursue your enthusiasm. And that leads into rule number 11, which is self-experimentation. Because self-experimentation is the only way to solve your problems for good.
Right.
People can diagnose and prescribe solutions to your problems, but they often lack regard for the difference in perspective, goals, and experience from the person with the problem.
Mm-hmm.
As an example, here's 2 different approaches for a person who's wanting to make money. Person A follows exactly what a guru says. They play it safe, follow the rules, and downgrade their lifestyle based on someone else's blueprint.
Right.
Person B pulls advice from multiple sources to make decisions based on the patterns they notice between all. They use how-to advice, but only to discover principles that can be integrated into the pursuit of their goals.
Right.
Eventually, with education and effort, it clicks, and they know how to make it work in their own unique way. As an example, with nutrition or weight loss, person A is in a much more dangerous position because they find a guru preaching veganism, then clean up their diet, then follow their advice as law, see results, and then attach to that ideology and become a prophet for it. This is dangerous in the definition of low consciousness. You lost weight and felt more energetic, but from a lack of understanding, decided that only the vegan diet can do that. And I'm just using the vegan diet here as a punching bag. I don't really care which diet you go with. If you're going through problems in your relationship,
you see how he has to like fact check, not like fact check, but this is the world we live in, because sometimes what we say might be mistaken because you're so vulnerable. Like that's what sometimes I feel when we're doing this live Twitch, right? Sometimes I feel almost uncomfortable, like, oh, am I okay to say that? But then I think it's part of it is just that
not everybody will agree with you.
Not everybody will agree with you.
To not agree, that's also your lesson and your
exactly.
Like is that the problem that you're dealing with? Then
I'm worried about that person problem fills in my problem.
Then you can make it into like another video. Like now I see every trouble or everything. Like I said, every time you dislike something, write it down, and that becomes something you can solve. Like you meet with someone that you don't like on the internet. Okay, how are you gonna solve that? And what's your solution? And then that you can share again. So every negative experience push you to the positive end result.
Right. Just like right now, I just typed in, enthusiast engineer, and it's like, look at what comes up, like all these like different types of looks, and I'm like, oh, pretty good. Yeah, I like this. This gives me us time to put together. I get to be creative while I'm listening, you know, and then whatever I don't understand, I get you. So it's helpful. Thanks. What?
Binge watch YouTube advice, go on a retreat, and experiment with options until you find the right solution. The first one you try probably isn't the best way. If your business isn't growing, buy a course, hire a coach, test a new software, zoom out, or create a new strategy. There's always a way to solve your problems, and you strip yourself of that power when you latch onto one solution that probably won't solve the problem for good. Now, rule number 12 is how to live a unique life. And that is that the greatest mistake is not making mistakes. Because the thing with all of this, the reason you've made it so far in this video is that you're different. You don't want to live the default life. You're aware of this. You're observant, maybe a bit quiet, afraid to speak your mind because they won't listen anyway. But that silence is killing you. You tried to fit in. You tried to trust others with your future. You tried to demonize money, success, and the rest because you don't need it to live a good life, but you need to build because that's how you contribute to others, connect to something greater than yourself, and embark on a unique journey that brings an end to robotic living because you have the money to remove your dependency from that robotic living. The thing is, you're still looking for that one true path, and I'm here to tell you that there isn't one. You aren't where you want to be because you're afraid of making mistakes. I cannot express that enough. If there were one true sentence in which to orient your life, that would be it. Mistakes are nature's compass. If happiness can't exist without sadness as a reference point, success can't exist without failure. It's a universal law, a pattern of reality, a phenomenon that has been around since the first sign of life because something can't exist without nothing. You can make mistakes on the conventional path, schools and jobs, but you are still working toward a narrow goal. The mistakes don't lead toward a new, better path. They simply lead to you feeling sorry for yourself. Now, when you decide to be free and reject the goals assigned to you at birth that made you think small and trapped you in this negative bubble of thoughts, your mistakes are your light in the dark. But you don't know what you want. That's the problem. You don't realize that you will never know what you want. It's in the future. It doesn't exist. It's imaginary. Life changes. What you want now could and will absolutely be different tomorrow, the next day, or the next decade. But you'll never embark on this process of refinement and purification because you can't seem to allow yourself to fail. What you want out of life becomes clear when you realize what you don't want out of life and work in the other direction. Since you haven't made any mistakes on your own path, it's obvious why you don't know what you want out of life. Now, here's my advice. Do what you want without permission from someone else. Go to the party. Get drunk, start the business, scroll on your phone all night, do whatever your little heart desires. Seriously, because denying those desires is only going to bind you to them. But there's a catch. You need to be able to realize when those things are a mistake. Getting drunk every night isn't a mistake if you don't have meaningful responsibilities to wake up to every morning. It's not hurting your ability to achieve the goal. Managing parties and alcohol becomes a lot easier when it impacts something more important than parties and alcohol. Since your schooling and job aren't more important, you don't care and you do it anyway. You need your own goals, and you can only generate those goals by getting absolutely fed up with where you are and rejecting everything you thought was true. You need to start from scratch. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my Substack for 2 letters a week.
Dan Koe.
Dan Koe.
Dan Koe. I'll subscribe, bro.
No, his newsletter is not free.
Oh, it's not free.
He,
Maybe later, Dan
It
Koe.
has a free edition, but you only got like his post notification.
Maybe sometime soon, Dan Koe. We'll make that investment.
But I think his content online is already great enough.
Oh, it's great. It's very.
That's
I
what
love
he
it.
said. He already shared enough free content, and if you become his super fan, then you subscribe to his more of his stuff. We just become ourselves. We just become our own Dan Koe.
We are Dan Koe.
No, you're Dan Win. Dan Win.
And then Jake comes out of nowhere.